Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Hey everybody, my name is Miss Edwards. What do you think of when you hear these words, generational wealth? In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about generational wealth. We'll focus on what it is, some different examples, why it's important, and some challenges that people experience in building generational wealth. Let's get into it. So generational wealth is assets, money that is passed down to future generations. What are some examples of generational wealth? Some examples of generational wealth are investments. So investments are when you use money to earn money, and there are different types of investments. There are stocks and bonds, cryptocurrency, CDs, high yield savings accounts, and retirement plans. And that's not all there is. Another example of generational wealth is real estate. And real estate technically falls into the category of investments, but I think it should be its own category because it's important as well. Real estate is you owning a home or an apartment, and this is a way to build equity and pass it on down. So real estate typically appreciates, so that means that the monetary value of the property you purchase increases over time. The next example is having a business. So you start a business and you pass that down to your family. The next example is life insurance. And then the last example, and I'm going to explain this a little more in depth, is education. Yes, education. Financial expertise is important. Generational wealth can't just end with you, it needs to be passed down. Passing on the knowledge of finances and wealth building is important because wealth compounds. Why is it important to have generational wealth? Well, as I mentioned before, wealth compounds, and it's a way to provide for future generations. And not just future generations, the future you. Today's success isn't guaranteed for tomorrow, and you owe it to yourself to have a financial cushion come what may. What are the challenges? Is building generational wealth something that everyone can do? Yes and no. Building generational wealth can be challenging. And just to be clear, this part of the video I'm talking about the challenges of building generational wealth in the United States. For example, one major factor is poverty. Poverty, not having enough money to survive, prevents an individual from putting money that they earn or that they have towards their future. Some examples of poverty would be debt. Debt is when you owe money. More and more people today have debt. Examples of debt would be credit card debt or student loans. The debt dwindles the chances of a person being able to put money towards their future or money towards investments. It hinders generational wealth building. Another factor that is a challenge for building generational wealth is increases in the cost of living. Salary, wages, tips are not in step with the ever-increasing costs of daily essentials. So when I say daily essentials, I'm talking about food, shelter, utilities. These prices keep increasing, but our salaries, our wages, and our tips are not. Case in point, the minimum wage. In the United States, the minimum wage is $7.25 per hour. So if a person is working 40 hours a week, they are making $290 per week. Then you multiply that by 52 and you get $15,080 a year. That is not enough to pay rent. That is not enough to buy food. That is not enough to pay your bills. And it's certainly not enough to put towards building generational wealth. The last factor that I'm going to mention is systemic racism and exploitation. The United States' history of legalized slavery, disenfranchisement, and mass incarceration has prevented Black people from building generational wealth. This is also the case for Native Americans and people of color in the United States too. As I said before, wealth compounds, but so does poverty. Let's recap. Generational wealth is the money that you pass down to future generations. Investments, real estate, businesses, education are examples of generational wealth. It's important to have generational wealth because you want to sustain the livelihoods of your loved ones as well as your future self. Building generational wealth is challenging for some because of poverty and systemic racism. Well, I hope this video helped. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Peace.